Hey, it's Andrew, your guy on the internet. So, we're going to go over Bitcoin's price lately, what we're looking for, stuff in the news that's influencing it, and then we'll come up with a plan from there. So, to begin, we have Bitcoin rushed right up to 48,000, and it ran into okay, I don't have it here, but there's a 200-day moving average of Bitcoin's price, and it's exactly 48,000. And so that's a hard wall right there of selling pressure, and we ran into it, and now we've been hanging out right under it. So we've been getting some big price moves, bullish moves, because we have major buys from people like Do Kwon from Luna. He's buying, $125 million worth of Bitcoin at a time to back up his Luna token and or coin. And then we have Michael Saylor of MicroStrategy, huge Bitcoin holder. I don't know how much he has. I think it's 30 or 40 billion if you include him and his company. He's the big Bitcoin holder, and he just got a $200 million loan from a bank to buy more Bitcoin. So I don't know if he's waiting for the price to come back a little bit, but we're going to start seeing a pump from him and Do Kwon. So if we look at the price right now, we're kind of hanging out right under that 200-day moving average, which is at 48,000. But if we look at the weekly, let me fix this chart a little bit here. It's looking strong as the momentum is pulling up. We have 3 green weeks in a row, 2 really strong green weeks. And, the weekly charts tend to last a little longer, the weekly patterns. And we're just starting to pull up here. We might have a few more weeks, and we'll get into what the major stop signs could be, namely Fed meetings when they raise rates. April does not have a scheduled Fed meeting. So we had March where he hit us with a 1/4 of a point, right? There's nothing for next month, but there is a CPI data report. That's when they come out and say, yeah, inflation's still really bad. And that CPI report next month is going to be really bad. So we're going to see how the market reacts to it, but we already had the rates raised a little bit. The CPI's been bad, and Bitcoin's still doing great. So that's a good sign for us. We basically have April, he's not going to hit us, but May, he's probably going to swing in with 0.5 point. Some are even calling for 0.75 or even a full 1% increase to the interest rates. That could happen. That what he'll actually do in May is probably largely determined on the CPI report in April. I'm thinking 0.5 point. We were correct on the 1/4 point. Maybe we'll be right on the 0.5 point, because we're just trying to hit 1.9% interest rates by the end of this year, and that would keep us right on schedules. 0.5 point is what I'm thinking. The other major thing is the Russia-Ukraine war, right? Putin and Zelensky have been having some peace talks, but they're not really getting anywhere. Putin has his demands and Zelensky has his demands, and neither of them are really budging. So Putin wants official recognition of Crimea, which he took in 2014, and the 2 new areas on the east end of Ukraine, Luhansk and Donetsk. I don't know how to speak that, but he's basically taken 2 regions on the east end of Ukraine which were already rebellious and kind of anti-Ukraine anyways. So he's taken those 2 places and Crimea, and he wants those to be officially Russian territories. And Putin wants Zelensky to have no access to any nuclear arms of any kind. He wants no connection to any kind of European or international military bloc like NATO or joining the EU or anything. He wants Ukraine isolated and neutral. He also wants the Azov battalion, which are actually Nazis. And these guys in Ukraine, these Nazi battalion guys, beat the crap out of Russian citizens regularly. And so that's not a good look for Ukraine to have Nazis on your side. But, Nazis are efficient fighters. And they are putting up a fight against this Russian invasion, so you got to give them that, I guess, temporarily. But yeah, Putin's not into the Nazis, and he wants all this additional land, and he wants Ukraine basically naked with no one helping him. Okay, that's his demand. And Zelensky just says no to all of that. He goes, "Yeah, I'll be neutral, and I won't have nuclear weapons, but I do want to join the European Union, and I want all of my land back." So, like, and um, 8 Russian generals have already been killed. To give you a comparison, the United States lost 1 general in our 20 years in Afghanistan, from what I remember. 1. And Russia's lost 8 in like 6 weeks. So it's not going well militarily for Russia right now. I mean, they're a relentless, massive force, but their troops are not into it. You got another story of a high-ranking Russian commander getting run over by his own troops on purpose because they didn't want to take his orders anymore. Things are falling apart, and I think the people around Putin are so terrified of him that they don't want to tell him the truth of what it's really like in combat against Ukraine. So they're probably telling him that things are going great. Yeah, it's a little harder than we thought, but it's fine. And these sanctions aren't actually hurting us. We're good. When in reality, it's going south for him. And I don't know how much longer Putin can pull this off. Something's going to have to give. Now, from the United States perspective, as long as Joe Biden doesn't have a microphone in front of him, we're good. Whenever he talks, he usually says something without thinking first, and then the White House has to walk it back. So just this last week, Biden says that he's telling our soldiers that they're going into Ukraine. And the White House an hour later is like, "We're not doing that, Joe, remember?" And then after that, Joe Biden gives his best version of the Ronald Reagan tear down that wall speech. And he stuttered a bunch of times. But then at one point he goes, "God's sakes, a man like him cannot remain in power." And everyone went, what do you mean by that? Is this a regime change? Are we trying to take him out? And an hour later, Jen Psaki in the White House is like, "Yeah, no, we're not doing a regime change, okay? Please don't think we're doing that." And so Putin is going, "Wait, do I listen to your president or the lady with red hair on TV? Like, what are you guys actually doing here? I don't trust you." And he's going to aim his guns at us too. Like, it's not good for trying to de-escalate, okay? So as long as Joe Biden doesn't say anything, the team of people around him can probably smooth this over eventually. So that's the other thing we're worried about, is this war here. Now, whenever we get even halfway good news, like, "Oh, there's a peace talk this week," things go up, right? And that's how it was this past few days, really. I think Bitcoin is going to be strong next month overall. I still think that 51,000 is an area to take profit. 56,000, most definitely, if we get there. We are running into the 48,200 moving average. And but next month, like I said, we don't have a Fed meeting to be afraid of, just a CPI report, which we already know is going to be bad. So I think we do have some room to continue growing. And if we look at the top cryptocurrencies, everybody's doing pretty well lately, on average. Now, we did all fall pretty hard, after December. But some are coming back stronger than ever. Like, some big winners this week were Solana. Big pump with Solana. Terra Luna is almost touching all-time highs, right? Everybody else is way off from all-time highs. Solana, for instance, at 120 after a big surge. They were at 260 last year, the same time. Cardano is still boring, but their technology is better than Ethereum's. And it's only a matter of time, a lot of people are saying, where Ethereum right now has a ton of confidence in all this power and all these people that are into Ethereum and developing on it, when realistically there are other companies that have better tech. And Vitalik, the figurehead of Ethereum, is not a really exciting or engaging guy. He's kind of like a skinny nerd dude when you kind of want an Elon Musk type dude at the helm. And Charles Hoskinson of Cardano, who actually was one of the co-founders of Ethereum. Charles left Ethereum to make Cardano his own thing, and he's got a great voice for crypto as a whole, and people really rally behind him. Polkadot, for instance, was another guy from the original team that came up with Ethereum. So Ethereum's still clearly number one. You want a lot of Ethereum. But I'm seeing a lot of voices on YouTube saying, yeah, Ethereum's top dog for now. And if their proof of stake merge goes well, then we're looking better for them. But they're really behind the eight ball in terms of proof of stake and scaling, and the gas fees are still too high. And so we have some folks saying that, hey, in 5-8 years, Ethereum won't be top dog anymore. It's going to be somebody else. And a lot of bets are being placed on Cardano. Am I saying that? I don't know. Really, the further out your predictions, the less likely they are to be true, generally. Ethereum's still my guy. And then Luna, then Avalanche, and Solana. I like those guys. Polkadot, still solid. Polygon, Matic, still solid because they're the ones who are going to be helping Ethereum with their scaling. So they're kind of tied together in terms of interest. Other than that, I think that's our report. Just keep an eye on, 48,000. We're trying to break through there and hold above it. But we're in a mild pattern of accumulation here, which is healthy. So if you blast up, right? Hang on, let me tighten this up a little bit here. Okay, so yeah, the past couple days we really blasted off from like 41 on up to 48. And as long as we can hold it and create a new level of support, that's what you use as like a ladder, like the next step up. You want growth to move up like a ladder rather than blast off, because then you just fall right back down like a Dogecoin or something, right? So we want this stair step of growth, and we're seeing that continue. If you look at the weekly, we're looking at a couple more weeks of green, I'm thinking, unless something really bad happens. And that's the report. So overall, very positive. Would I buy now? No. This is actually something that Fear and Greed Index, let's have a look. Okay, it just refreshes. It's right in the middle somewhere. So it's not too late to buy. You could buy, but I tend to buy when people are terrified, when it's all the way over here. Okay, and we're crossing over into that positive threshold. You could buy a little bit and sit. But this is really the moment where the people who bought during the fear, right, 2 months ago, are going to start cashing in on that move. So don't worry, if you miss the bus, there's always another bus. There's always more fear. May is probably fear, okay? Everyone tends to sell off in May and walk away, right? Everybody goes to the Hamptons. And when that dip happens, it lasts like a while, okay? 6 to 8 weeks, maybe a little longer. You can buy during that bus ride. So there's always a time to make money. You just don't want to get FOMO'd in with everybody else. Now, right now, we're somewhere in the middle, so there's still some room. But overall, if you've never bought anything, maybe a little bit or not at all, you could just wait till May. For those of us who have already bought during the fear, it might be some good times for us in the short-term future.